is the obvious one that was going to come from the video.
Right.
The Beatles aren't as good as people think.
Hello and welcome to Stereotypical, the podcast about music and the people that make it. My name is Liam. I am, as always, joined by Mr. Jack O'Neill. Today, in a very different setting, as you may notice. We probably sound a little different too if you're listening to just the audio version. We are currently in our apartment in Barcelona. It's not our apartment in Barcelona.
Yeah, probably not a good start.
We don't own it, but it's where we've been staying this week. Today's actually our last day in Barcelona.
Yes.
Flying back to the UK later on.
The final.
How have you found the trip?
It's been good, man. It's been good. Been busy. A lot of walking. A lot of sightseeing.
A lot of walking. I am knackered.
It's been very good weather.
Yes.
Humid.
Hot indeed. But we just thought while we were out here that
It's been good vibes, man.
Yeah, it has been good vibes, man. I think we've had a lot of good conversations as well. We've had better conversations than we've ever had on this podcast, you know what I mean? But it was very off topic. Maybe we should start a podcast about something else one day.
Not the shit we've talked about.
No. No,
thanks.
Well, anyway, we thought while we were here, we would just take this opportunity to just do a little podcast.
May as well. Grab it by the balls.
Yeah, man, do it in a bit of a different setting while we're in a bit of a different mood. Although today we are going to be shitting on people potentially because this episode is going to be all about hot takes. So these are some unpopular opinions that we think people might not agree with, that we might not agree with each other's opinions on, will hopefully lead to some interesting debate.
We'll see, man. We'll see.
Hopefully get some good clips out of it for TikTok.
I feel like I struggled. I thought this one would just be like an easy writing one, but I've probably struggled more than I thought I would.
Yeah, me too. I mean,
because with the hot takes thing, it usually just comes through conversation. Do you know what I mean? Like I'll be speaking to you like, Jack, you're fucking stupid. You're wrong.
That's happened a lot this holiday.
Yeah, that's just my life. But it's been hard to sit and think, right, what do I think would be?
Yeah, I mean, I tried to come up with this list when I was on the plane on the way out here, and just sitting down to muster those. I had to go through my music library to look at if there was anyone that like sparked anything interesting. You know what I mean?
Instantly fuming at someone.
So, I mean, would you like to go first?
You go first.
You want me to fire a hot take? Okay, let me consult the notes here. So these are music industry hot takes.
Industry?
Well, like specific to artists or just generally music and the way we consume in the industry and stuff like that. So,
my mum was right when she says you sound drab sometimes.
Fuck off. Fuck off. I'm sick of your fucking shit.
Okay.
So
numero uno.
I'm gonna go in with quite a basic one. Right. I think Beyonce is overrated.
Yeah, but I agree with this one.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that then.
I think first and foremost, like I have this argument all the time when I ask someone, Beyonce or Rihanna.
I'd go Rihanna.
Because I feel like it's a good question because you'll see where people kind of sit.
Yeah.
On the scale. So Beyonce, give her the props, is an amazing performer.
Yes.
Like she's really good. You know, like the story, obviously Destiny's Child, the story is like a dad made her run around in heels as a kid and stuff. Yeah. You know, questionable.
Very.
But it worked, got a lung capacity going, so she can sing while she dances. So she's good at what she does. But is she Queen Bee?
Well, this is what I was going to say, like, I don't think Beyonce is bad.
Yeah, of course not.
I think she is a good artist and she's definitely a good singer, although I don't necessarily rate her voice as much as a lot of people seem to. But I don't understand why she's like heralded as this icon. You know what I mean? When to me she's not done anything that out of the ordinary. She's a very good pop artist. In fact, she's not even a very good... I'd say she's just a good pop artist.
Yeah, she's alright at pop.
Yeah.
She's not like R&B, she.
Yeah. Well, I know, but I don't know, her voice just doesn't do it for me. Like, I don't think she's got anything... Obviously, she has her own tone. It's quite recognisable, but it doesn't stand out to me as anything, like, amazing. It's not like an Adele. Adele does shit and you're like, okay. Or like Ariana Grande does shit and you're like, okay, technically impressive, you know what I mean?
Technically impressive. I think the Beyonce vibe is more just about like empowering women and
Yeah,
that sort of
but
thing. Like I can see why that would like attract people in her music.
Doesn't she have,
It doesn't make her music any better, but I can see that that's what people enjoy about it.
Yeah.
And that's what's made her as big as she is.
Yeah. Doesn't she have like sweatshops? That's the thing that people throw around.
Hell, man, that's a curveball in the
Quite
conversation.
a lot, you know what I mean? But this is the argument about the empowerment.
She might be good,
like,
but doesn't she have sweatshops?
She's like a feminist icon, right? But I have heard that there's some questionable shit going on there. That's not confirmed. I don't want to get sued for libel for saying that.
The question is then, like, obviously she did have her own little clothing thing, didn't she?
The Blue Ivy shit.
Blue Ivy, but you could just say, is everyone not a sweatshop?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
True.
Fast fashion and that sort of argument.
Very true. But I don't know. Like, I can sort of see where you're coming from. Like, I get that she's an icon for a certain group of people for that reason. But as an artist, she's not.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. You can't shit on her because she's trying to go into clothing and.
No. But
the main option is having a sweatshop in Taiwan.
No, but like when I say Beyonce is overrated, I just mean like.
But yeah, that's what
general.
I mean. As soon as you said that, I was like, yeah.
Heralded when like I don't think she's anything that special, and also she potentially has some questionable business.
So would you say Rihanna?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
mate, definitely Rihanna.
I would say Rihanna in the Beyonce versus Rihanna argument.
Yeah,
also,
she's got a better and more interesting voice, and I think she's just done more interesting shit.
But Beyonce's been around for time, man.
True.
This is what.
And Beyonce's got classics, but so has Rihanna. You know
So
what I mean?
true. Yeah.
And I think if you're looking at classics v classics, Rihanna's classics, I would prefer.
I think they hit different. Some of Beyonce's classics.
In what sense?
Like Crazy in Love, like that's like a classic.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I see what you mean. She has got big tunes, but like,
Whereas
so have a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I don't understand why people rate her so much. I do agree.
Okay. Well, let's move on.
Going from that one,
Hit me.
one of my points is with chest. Writers are more important than performers.
Ooh.
So that's my take on it.
That is a hot take because that has potential to offend performers. I think I'd agree though.
That writers are more important.
Yeah.
So I've got on my notes, would you rather listen to a good song sang badly or a bad song sang well?
Well, I think the majority of people do listen to
Bad song sang well.
bang average songs that are just sang well because people who aren't like into music just like something that sounds
The
nice.
sound, yeah.
So if it's polished and it's got a nice vocal on it, then because like that's why you think like pop shit vocal is like a good vocal sound and take we know from making music is like key. So I would say that people have that sort of surface level thing where they would rather hear something that just sounds nice rather than is what we would consider a good song. But
then this comes down to what the people like. Again, that conversation always comes to like what do people connect with. Are you going to relate to a story more or relate to a sound? Do you know what I mean?
But what you have to remember is a large amount of the population doesn't listen to music on the same way that like music lovers do.
True, but then
like probably a large part of the population gets heavily affected by music. But I remember being in school and being like, "What? You don't listen to music?" And they're like, "Nah, it's just whatever's on the radio." It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know what I mean? Because they don't get that deep emotional connection.
Even pretentious when you was in year one.
Yeah, mate.
Going around the playground, slagging people off.
Always.
What else have we got? So like, for example, Beyonce,
Right.
Halo, Ryan Tedder.
Yes.
That like, this is one thing that stirred the pot in the Beyonce argument with me at the time. Like I was like, I don't really rate Beyonce, but Halo is a banger.
Right.
And then I found out I shouldn't even write that one. And that just pissed me off even more.
Yeah, because most good artists, particularly in the pop sphere, will have good writers behind them, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So you could argue like if we're saying relating it back to the Beyonce argument, if we're saying that Beyonce doesn't have anything special in terms of her performance, like she's a good singer, but she's not like out there. And then we said, oh, but she has got classics.
Yeah, that like, might not even be
who fucking wrote
from
those
Beyonce.
Classics, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So like, even though you say like people just resonate with like people doing a good sound and stuff, that might come nowhere from the people writing it if they weren't there.
Yeah.
Who else have we got? Sorry, Justin Bieber, Julia Michaels, one of his biggest songs. American Boy, Estelle, John Legend.
Yeah. I would agree. And imagine if we get through this whole thing and we just agree with each other's opinions.
I know.
Imagine if this was
This is the thing, where we do disagree a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And like you saying yesterday, like our like founding memories of each other is us disagreeing over shit. So it's crazy to think we've come this far.
But yeah, I would say that is true. And also, I think maybe if people really think about it, like they would say it's true as well. Especially like music people. Like music lovers,
well,
music
just
fans.
think it depends. Like if you said to someone like, "What's your favourite song?"
Yeah.
And then like if you analysed it, what you're gonna go from?
Well, how much do you think like people know about
the writing and stuff?
Yeah, and the way the industry
well,
works.
not a lot, but it doesn't matter in terms of who's more important.
Right. Okay.
It's like saying what's more important, the engine or the wheels in the car.
Yeah.
If you have no engine, you ain't going nowhere.
And that is the writer. The writer is the engine. I mean, there's an argument to be made about where the producer sits in that as well.
So where would you rank the producer? I would say
that said, well, I'd go writer, producer, singer. Or well, it depends, because if it's just a singer, writer, producer, singer. But if it's like a group where there's like instruments to be played and you need to have that technical ability, then I'd go writer, band, producer.
Yeah, because I feel like even though producers are important, if you have like 5 different producers on the same song, you're gonna get 5 different outcomes. But
yeah, but take like we were watching yesterday the behind the scenes of Kygo and Lewis Capaldi writing a tune, and in that scenario, Kygo is the producer and the band. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for songs like that, the producer's a lot more important, because the producer's the one who's actually making all the instrumental parts.
Yeah.
Whereas, take a fucking Catfish and the Bottlemen album, like the producer's role is to best record what is being played.
Yeah, but
you know
also
what I mean?
like when you said
the playing is more important.
But when you said yesterday, like some songs are written like it's a good song and then like gets lost in the production.
Yeah. Well,
so like in that Kygo thing, that song was like emotional, wasn't it? And like if that was recorded differently, arguably could have been better than the Tropical House banger they ended up with.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is producers are important, but
well, I think you've just justified your argument really, because it could be sang well either in the sort of Tropical House style or as a piano ballad. But for me, what I was saying is the production ruined it.
Yeah.
So the writing was good, the production fucked it, but the vocal was good. So the artistry was good. What's the guy's name? Dean Lewis. But if it was just Dean Lewis and the piano, or even Lewis Capaldi and the piano, it would have been better. Yeah. So I think the producer plays a more important role, because in that scenario, like he could make or break the song. But like I say, it is different depending on what kind of artist. Yeah. You know what I mean? Should we move on to the next one?
What you got, big boy?
We've got a lot to get through. Okay, and this is something I've sort of touched on a little bit before. I've tried to like not go over shit that I've already said, but artists don't make music for you. They should be allowed to grow and change like any other individual without people whinging that they prefer the older stuff. If you don't like it, don't listen to it.
That's a hard one.
Why?
Because on one side, you understand that, like we've said many times, like if you like Kanye's earlier stuff, it's still there to go and listen to.
Yeah.
So on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But then, again, without people listening to the stuff he's putting out, there is no Kanye.
No, true. But that's when you're looking at it from like a career perspective, I guess, which is important because obviously the guy wants a career, you know what I mean?
I think it was Bon Jovi that said that like when he goes on tour, he gets to pick like 2 songs.
Yeah.
Because the rest are songs that people want to hear, like people like with like some people's last concert.
Well, and that's in a live scenario though. I agree with that. But I just think like when it comes to, you know, Arctic Monkeys is a good example, right? Of like after AM
producing bollocks.
After AM, everyone thought they knew what they wanted from the Arctic Monkeys, and then Tranquility Base comes out, and everyone's fucking piss whinging. Even with this new single that's come out, oh, Alex Turner's not the same. Yeah, of course he's not. He's not fucking 19 anymore. You know what I mean? Like people grow and change, and you often, I think you would find if you really looked at it, that the people who want artists to pander to them and do the same as just be the same thing that they've always been are people who
fall off.
No. Like the listeners that are like that are people that haven't changed as people. You know what I mean? Haven't grown as people as much.
I don't know. I think
they're living in the fucking past, mate.
People like what they like.
They do, and this is the thing. People like what they like. So if you like it, fine. If you don't like it, fuck off.
But what I'm trying to get across to, like with Arctic Monkeys, for example, that AM album that everyone rates highly.
Yes.
Like if they did like a second AM, bigger and better, which is arguably anyway, but in this case,
people would say it's just the same as AM.
No, I don't know. People might have got like this with the Catfish thing was on like the other day.
Yeah.
Like first album was banger. Second album's like the same. It's alright.
It's worse. I'd say it's like a watered down version.
Yeah, it's not as good.
Yeah.
But what they've done is catered to the audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe not like primarily.
But, yeah, they've catered to the audience and fallen the fuck off.
Yeah, but is that because of that, do you think?
Yeah.
Like or is that just always like
that second album,
an internal thing?
When that second album came out, because that was when I was very much into that scene, right? So I got the inside scoop. When that second album came out, everyone was like,
it's just the same.
Kind of just a worse version of the first one. You know what I mean? I heard the bass player from Two Door Cinema Club say one time, because they made 2 albums, I think, and then like...
Two Door?
Yeah, and then disappeared for like 6 years or something. And when they were making the comeback one, he was like, you know, like, if you make an album that's the same as the shit you've already done, people will say, oh, this is just samey, there's no like progression, it's not interesting. And if you make one that's different, people will be like, oh, this is too different, it's not the same as what we like them for. So it was like, you just have to discard that and make a good album.
Yeah, do what you want.
Yeah. But again, the actual point, the hot take is that people should just accept that like artists will grow and change. And stop whinging about it. And you could say, oh well, Liam and Jack, you comment negatively on music. But that is often because we go, what are we going to make an episode about? These people have released new albums, let's review them. And if they're bad, we'll say it because we've already decided that's what the episode's going to be on. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So my hot take is that people should shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that sounds like something you'd say. But the point I was just trying to get across is like, without the people, there'd be nowhere anyway.
No, and I agree. But there's probably always going to be somebody that likes.
But it's the same,
shit,
and
especially if you're already an artist that's on.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be people that will always listen to a Kanye album.
Yeah.
Because it's Ye.
Yeah, and I agree with like, if someone puts out a new album that's different people are going to come in the same way people are going to go out.
Yeah, which is that's where AM is a good example. You know what I mean? A lot of people got on at that album then got off at the next stop.
So yeah, people don't make music for you.
Yeah.
It's hard because like people do make music for other people to listen to.
Yeah, and I think something that if you're a musician and an artist out there that you should realise is that like you've got to play the game a little bit. It's like we've spoke about Charlie Puth. His first album was very much just him doing what he needed to do to get into the realm, and it was only after that he sort of flourished as an artist into what he wanted to do. You know what I mean?
It's crazy, isn't it? That whole story.
The Charlie Puth thing.
Yeah,
it is. But I think it's a good...
that first album was like for mums and mums only.
Yeah, it's a good lesson though. It's a good thing to learn. Like we talk about a lot.
That show how fucked the whole thing is.
Yeah, it is. But at the end of the day, it's an industry, and you've got to play the game. You know what I mean? It's like it's like TikTok. I don't like making TikToks at all, like for the band, but it's where you've got to be. You've got to fucking play the game, and once you're in, then you can change and fuck up and that. Like Charlie Puth might not have even liked making YouTube videos. It might just be promotional. But sometimes you've got to compromise. Sell your soul a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Illuminati shit.
Go on, hit me with another hot take.
The next one is the obvious one that was going to come from the video.
Right.
The Beatles aren't as good as people think. This was always going to come in, and I think people will agree with me.
I think you've not listened to the Beatles enough to have that opinion. If you'd have listened to the Beatles back catalogue and then said, "Nah, not for me," I get it, but I don't think you've really, because as well there's such a. I'm a Beatles guy, right? I come up on the Beatles. They were like my first favourite band when I was a kid. I think there's such a diverse range of shit that you will find something that you like in there. But also, even if you're going to say it's not for me, and I've said this to you before, even if you're going to say it's not for me, you have to go, okay, they did this, and this, which put music in the place that it is now.
See, this is
like without the Beatles, you wouldn't be fucking.
But if it wasn't the Beatles, it was going to be someone else.
Yeah, and if it was them,
and would that make them the best that's ever been?
Probably. Yeah.
Like people say the Beatles are like goated.
They are goated,
but they're not goated. Just because they got there first doesn't make them the best.
If you get there first, it means you're a fucking pioneer. It means you're thinking outside.
But are you the best?
You're thinking outside of the box that existed.
But just because, no, disagree, lad. Like Neil Armstrong's not the fucking best astronaut that's ever lived. Just because he got to the moon first, like.
No, but the people
they did pioneer it. It's good that they did it, but it doesn't mean that they're amazing.
The people who put Neil Armstrong on the moon are probably heralded as some of the fucking best guys in the biz.
Yeah, at the time.
No, man.
At the time.
You don't understand. Even like...
What do you mean I don't understand? You're chatting shit, my friend.
Because you've not listened to the Beatles, right?
But they're not as good as what... Like, this is what I mean. They're on a pedestal, right? They're there. No one can touch them, apparently. Bollocks. I think it's a generational thing.
No, I think no one can change the game in the way that the Beatles did.
Yeah, but that's just because it was at the times.
Well, what do you mean? Like
you're saying, they're the first people to do A, B, and C. Yeah?
Yeah.
Which you can't argue because they might have been. Mm-hmm. But if someone else did the first thing to do A, B, and C, would the Beatles have still been big if they was like after them?
No, because they would just be doing something that someone else has already done. They'd be big because they were good songwriters, but they might not be like heralded as goated. Plus, they've just got like classic albums, like deeply classic albums. Plus, what you got to remember is the Beatles were in the public spotlight for 7 years. That's it. 7 years these days is like 2-3 albums at most. 7 years, 12 albums maybe, something like that. And there's not one where I'd go, that's a bad album.
Yeah, but that's just your opinion.
There's tracks that I'd skip. But it's my opinion, but it's most people's opinion. If you
this again a generational thing. Because if you're going to speak to younger people, a lot of them I think wouldn't have even like gone to listen to them. Like when I went to the beach that day with work, people that didn't know who the Beatles were.
Well,
didn't know who they were.
Well, this is the
thing.
And
you're going to say, well, you're uneducated.
Well,
you've not done your research.
But this is the thing. Like, it comes down to the argument of what is good music. Because obviously music is subjective, right? And we know that, and we've mentioned it a lot. So shit that you like, I don't like, and vice versa. But if you're talking about good music, you'd have to break it down to the technical levels of shit. And if you look at like the shit that they did technically, which was so game changing.
That's an argument in itself. Would you break it down to the technical level of stuff, or would you break it down to like the art form?
Both. But like the
exactly.
art
So if you're just gonna go with like
if Beatles albums were paintings, they'd be fucking heralded paintings because there's like especially later on in the career, there's technical aspects involved that are interesting and new and hadn't been done before.
It's weird arguing this with you because you like them.
Yes.
And you know a lot about them. Where I'd be, like I said, don't know a lot about them, but I know where I stand on the viewpoint as I don't think they're as amazing.
But this is what I'm saying.
But that goes hand in hand with that's why I haven't listened to more, because I don't think they're that good.
I don't think you've listened to enough to say that. And also, I don't think you're coming at listening to them with the right mindset. You're coming at listening to them.
Like you said before, people don't go into listening to shit with a mindset going, oh, I need to listen to it. It's just music. And do I think the music's as good as what people have said is like held as the fucking golden age and that? No.
Well, I mean, let us know in the comments.
That's the point, innit?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people will disagree with you. But that moves on to, we'll just slightly touch on one of my hot takes. Which is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band is not the best Beatles album. And that's the one that is heralded as like the turning point. And this actually could go back to the point of what you're saying, of like technical pioneering versus a good song or a good album, right? Yeah. Sgt. Pepper is where they really delved into. They stopped playing live, and they took what a pop band was to a new realm. You know what I mean? Because they weren't limited by being a 4-piece pop band. You know, and that is brilliant, and you have to herald that. And it is a great album. It's a damn classic album. But are there better songs on other albums? Is there better sequencing on other albums? Yes. So this is where you can have that argument of like, this album is technically really good. Really, really good. And it pushed all these boundaries. But do they have better albums that have better songs on? Yes.
Like, I still can't get my head around like pushing boundaries always being like a good thing.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it just depends what you value in music. It's something that I value a lot.
But pushing boundaries?
Yeah. It's why Ye's so good, man.
Yeah, but no, but it's again in certain aspects. Like when you think of like Screamo, that's pushing certain boundaries of like vocals and lyricism, but it doesn't mean it's
and that's fair.
Going forward and it's the best.
No, that's pioneering and I respect it, but like, don't know.
Yeah, that
again,
feeling. Subjective. It's like the Beatles, I did this, yeah, but they're still not sick.
No, but what I'm saying is, so take your example of Screamo. Like Screamo isn't influencing anything down the line. So like the Beatles pioneered stuff that then made.
That thing you had on yesterday, that clown.
What?
That clown thing.
Oh, clowncore.
Yeah.
You can't discard the technical boundaries that they pushed, and it's alright to say that like, oh, if they didn't do it, someone else would. But what's the thing that that Scouse kid says?
She says, we now have wheels, she'll have a bike, but she's not, so she's in. Do you know what I mean?
So like.
Why are you laughing, Chris?
It doesn't fucking matter that someone else would have done it, because then they would have been goats.
Fuck him, man. Fuck him.
No, right, we're going to do a Beatles episode anyway. We're going to rant at the Beatles, man. Right, is it my go? Well, I don't know, I said Sgt. Pepper's not the best Beatles album, but do you want to not class
if you've got some of the goes, fuck that.
Well, fuck it, right. I'll say, changing lanes. Frank Ocean's lack of output stops him from being a top tier artist.
That's not really a hot take, is it? Because it will do.
No, but like people fucking love Frank Ocean, mate.
Yeah, but if you put out 1 or 2 albums, you're not going to be top tier.
You using that mic?
Yeah.
But people view him as like this top tier artist of like R&B, man. And he's this.
He's good, isn't he? He's good.
Yeah, he's good at what he does.
And the stuff he's done, he's nice.
Yeah, but
But he's not gonna be. He's never gonna be.
But
Up
people
there.
bum him. We've spoke before. I was like, why do people bum him? You're like, oh, fucking hipsters in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
People bum him, but I don't think it's justified. I think Frank Ocean's fans are in an abusive relationship with Frank Ocean, and he treats them like shit, and they just still fucking.
Wow. Double gog.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're never gonna be top tier if you don't release shit.
No. So you agree with that one?
Yeah, don't think it's that bizarre a thing to say.
I think it'll offend Frank Ocean fans.
Frank Ocean's gonna see this and go, "What the fuck did you say?"
Go ahead, hit me.
I've just got the radio. He's dead. Dead and gone.
You'd think, but like in the UK, Radio 1's still a big influencer.
No, but why? I don't understand what's kept it going. It's on its last legs, man. It's only listened to in certain scenarios, e.g. the car.
Yeah.
Or like a building site.
Yeah.
And that's a push, for your listeners.
Yeah. I don't know. I think people like it more than. I agree to a degree, but I think we just don't know a lot of people who listen to radio, but there clearly is a fair amount. Because Radio 1 makes people's first album in this country.
Bollocks.
Not this country, in Spain. In the UK.
I don't think it does anymore. I just don't think it has much as an influence as people think. Obviously at certain points in time, it did. Do you know what I mean? And radio was the only place you could go to.
Yeah.
And people were like, oh, if you made it on the radio, then it's fucking sound. Do you know what I mean? You've kind of made it already.
Mm-hmm.
But then with Spotify and YouTube and easy distribution and TikTok.
Yeah.
And social media platforms.
I agree that it's not what it once was, but it still is somewhat of a tastemaker, despite it being a fucking, in my mind, a archaic, out of date way to fucking do anything.
It is out of date, isn't it?
Because the shows in between the playing of music is fucking bullshit.
But this is what I mean. I think now people listen to radios more for the presenters and the DJs and the shit that they say rather than their music. Especially what you're saying, Radio 1 and Capital, which is obviously the big one in the UK. People are more interested in whose show he's on at the time. Do you know what I mean? Is Greg James on?
Yes.
Is it fucking?
I would agree with that.
So radio in terms of especially you being in the band and stuff, trying to go forward. Is radio play as big as getting views on YouTube or TikTok or Spotify listens?
I think it is, just because it's more mainstream. It takes you to a wider audience.
Maybe
because say we get numbers on TikTok, it's gonna be within a certain TikTok niche. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas Radio 1, it's just fucking
generalised. Yeah, I get you. But then I think of people who want to discover artists.
Yeah.
Fuckers.
You leave your window open.
It is open.
No, well, I'll be lying.
I feel I'm more likely gonna get it through a weekly thing on Spotify or New Music Radar than a Radio 1 Friday night.
I would agree. I don't know. I don't have enough of an informed opinion on it, I don't think. I guess crawlers are a good example, a good model to follow, to see, because they get played on Radio 1 quite a lot these days, and it'll be interesting to see how
much it takes them.
Yeah, how that takes their trajectory. But I don't know. I sort of agree, and I don't know what other people would think about it.
If you get into a car, right, and someone goes for the radio rather than link something up, what do you think anything of it?
I think they're less interesting as a person. I feel it's more of a basic bitch thing to just put the radio on. It's more of a normie fucking...
Normie, what they call it, NPC.
Yeah, it's an NPC thing.
If you get in and someone's oh, do you want to put something on? I'm if we get in the car and go to Tesco, we have 2 songs to get there, don't we? But we still do it.
Yeah.
Rather than just listen to the bullshit that's on.
Yeah.
That we have no say in.
Well, that's what I mean. I feel people who listen to the radio all the time in the car need to get a music taste. You know what I mean? get a personality. Okay, let's go with. I've only got 2 more.
I've only got 1 more.
Okay, we'll try and burst through these because time is getting on and we got to get out of it. Jaden Smith doesn't deserve the hate he gets.
Jaden Smith doesn't deserve. What hate does Jaden Smith get?
Everyone thinks he's trash and as an artist and pretentious and just a rich boy.
He is a rich boy.
He is a rich boy. But I think that he's done some stuff that's actually
Credible.
Pretty okay, yeah. Is he like top tier? Nah. Has he done some stuff that's kind of shit? Yeah. But I think he's not a bad rapper.
See, this is the modern age where like people rap in various different ways. So the outlook on what is good and bad, alright, okay, has changed a lot. But like when you think of like, this is the way I'd look at it, is like the Willow Smith thing.
Right.
Like she was kinda, it's like singing at home, you're going into music.
Yeah.
Whip my hair. Didn't want to do it anymore. She was touring like Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
And she just fucking cut her hair off in a dressing room. And Wilson was like, right, guess we're going home.
Yeah.
Like if it was up to him, she would have just kept going because that's what he wanted for her.
Yeah.
It wasn't all Willow's. She might have enjoyed music at the start, but it's obviously gone in that direction. Jaden Smith might be the other flip of the coin, where like he might have been into music, but has he used his position to do what he's done? And obviously, if you could, you would.
I mean, potentially, but
I think that's why people are going to say that's shit.
You could say that about him as an actor, but people.
Yeah, true.
But because he's not an amazing actor, he doesn't get parts anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Whereas music is, you can do it all on your own. Nothing's really stopping it.
Yeah, exactly. And he did from when he was a kid. You know what I mean? Like he has been making music since he was young. But he wasn't on the level of fame that Willow got put on because he was just sort of doing it. You know what I mean? Yeah, he had some big features when he was a kid, but like in his teen years, he was just getting by. You know what I mean? Just doing it on the side of acting, and it was only when he decided to push it that it came off. Like, does that mean he's not used his position? No, not at all. It probably has helped him, but that doesn't mean that I don't think he's a decent artist. And I think you also like, even though there's hits and misses on his albums, his first 2 albums are very like conceptual, and I think he's the kind of guy who thinks a lot about like the things that surround the music. He's not just like, oh, I want a career in music, so I'm going to use my fucking status to get it. He's like, he wants to be an artist. He has a genuine fucking love of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a hard one
like
to argue.
I'm not saying that he's great. I'm not saying he's amazing, but I just don't think he deserves the hate he gets.
Does anyone deserve hate? You know what I mean in the world? Probably fucking not, man.
Yeah, okay.
But the last one,
Hit me.
Coldplay are arguably the best band in the world. And that already, the word Coldplay strikes fear when people talk about it, because it's like, yeah, shat on.
Yeah, I mean, if you just said that like Coldplay don't deserve the hate that they get, I'd agree.
Yeah, but
big Coldplay fans on the pod, right?
Yeah, I think that's a straight fact anyway.
Yes, yeah, it is.
Like, you can't really argue that, because you can just say, like, a lot of people do like them.
Yeah, I would say that they are the biggest band in the world.
Right.
I wouldn't say they're the best band in the world.
But does being the best
particularly
not
not
make
because
the
of
biggest?
their recent. Maybe they were at one point, but their recent output hasn't been outstanding.
What do you mean?
The past 2 albums.
Haven't banged.
Yeah.
But that's what I think makes them the best. Like when you was talking about Arctic Monkeys and the diversity in their albums, like every album they put out still does extremely very well.
Yes,
Does that come along just because they have the name and what in the back catalogue?
Well, okay, it depends on, again, what are we saying as like best and good. It's subjective. But if you're looking at it from a technical standpoint, I don't think that Coldplay are doing anything majorly interesting. Like, I love Coldplay.
Do you not think? That's what I mean.
But they're not pushing the boat out in the way that they have in the past.
I think they still are.
I still think they're progressing. but like, are they progressing from what they've done, or are they progressing in terms of the whole music sphere? I think they're just doing stuff that they haven't done before.
I don't think they're going through like a fucking checklist of, oh, we've done this, we've done this, we've done this, we've done this.
No.
Like, in an infinite checklist of stuff, they wouldn't have done that last album. With like the whole like Middle Eastern sort of vibes. It's just what they was into at the time. But it's still got like #1 album.
Yeah.
Still highly acclaimed.
Yeah.
People will still pick some songs off them albums
I don't think
as being the best ones that they'd go for. Like Coldplay's, their favourite Coldplay song.
And that's fine, but I don't think you can credibly argue that they're the best band in the world.
I also have put down Unreal Live gigs. Like, it is actually unreal.
Yeah, I've got tickets, I can't wait to go see them.
Like, it's just like it's weird because like they were the first band I saw live. And like when you go to that fucking scale of production straight away, it's like what else do you expect? And then when you go to something else, it's just like a normal gig.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what's the norm? That's when you realise that they're unreal.
Yeah.
I've also put modern classics, what we were saying yesterday. Like some songs that they do put out that people enjoy will go down as some of like the best.
Yeah.
Along with like Bob Dylan. Like some Bob Dylan songs people say like go down as some of their greatest songs.
Yeah, I don't think you can like compare the songwriting of Coldplay to the songwriting of Bob Dylan.
Why not?
Because it's not. It's just terrible. I think it's very uninformed comparison.
What do you mean?
I feel like you've not listened to enough Bob Dylan, and not that I've listened to a load of Bob Dylan either, but like, I don't know. I know you love him and that, and I love them, but they're not the best band in the
They
world.
arguably are, my friend.
I don't think many people would argue that point, unless they were big Coldplay fans
No,
like
I
yourself.
disagree. Like even if you was
Are
looking
you
at,
saying that like? Are you saying that Coldplay are better? Like the last Coldplay album is better than what the 1975 are doing right now, or is better than what like Arctic Monkeys have done in recent years, or like who else? I don't know, but still.
arguably yes.
Plus, also, there's not as many fucking bands anymore.
But that's the point. That's my point. Like when we're saying like what the 75 doing like within the band and like production wise or like little tips and tricks and shit. Like you go,
It's better.
it's good, yeah. But I also think in Coldplay's production as well, there's things in there that's like, oh, that's good, that's clever.
No, but not on the
What else have I put down?
I can't support that.
I've put longevity and diversity. Ghost stories into a head full of dreams.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they're the best band in the world right now.
Their features.
What do you mean, the features?
I'm going to go through some. Brian Eno,
Right.
Beyonce,
Yeah.
Big Sean, BTS, and that's just the bees, my friend. The list goes on and on. Like, who else could do that sort of thing?
That list got worse the further down.
Oh, you're going to piss off a lot of people.
Well, what, by saying that Brian Eno is better than BTS and has done more for music than Big Sean? Like, no,
it's the diversity.
I think this is a stupid argument.
No, man, what other band could do that?
What do you mean? Having Big Sean on a song is not a fucking achievement, lad.
It is. It shows us how, because the song was still a decent song. Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't remember it. It was that unmemorable.
Chris Martin and Kanye, Homecoming.
Yeah, that's great, but that was also 20 years ago.
Well, definitely wasn't.
It probably was close to.
We'll have a look after this.
But no, I can't. I think that's a very ridiculous argument to make, and I can't support it. And I would be interested to hear what other people think about that. Like, who is the best band in the world? Comment.
Again, arguably.
Right. Okay. You're done now, right?
That's me done.
Right. I've got one more. It's okay to still like an artist that has. Oh, okay, wait there. It's okay to still like an artist that is a questionable person.
Oh yeah.
Brackets within reason. Right.
100%.
If they're out here, R. Kelly and people.
Oh yeah. That's what I instantly thought of when you said that.
No, you can't support things that are like physically harmful to other human beings.
Ian Watkins sort of shit.
Yeah. No, fuck that. That's not what
When I was going through Sahara World Tour over there, I was like, love profits.
Yeah. All I mean is that, like, if somebody is a bit of a dick on social media, or like comes across as a cunt in interviews, or like, I don't know, has maybe said some questionable things in the past. Yeah. It's like, I'm still gonna sometimes listen to the Smiths. I'm not gonna apologise for it. Does that mean I like Morrissey as a person? No. Yeah. But I'm not speaking to Morrissey as a person. Would I be friends with him? No. But do I think that the Smiths are a good band? Yes.
Yeah.
It's like what you said about Chris Brown last episode. It's like, does he have a good voice? Yes. Is he a good guy? No. But that doesn't mean you can't still say that he has a good voice. You know, people hate on Matty Healy a lot, and I get it, but the 75 is still great. So
I completely agree with that one.
So, but obviously, again, brackets, within reason. If you're fucking beating people up or out here, you know, doing dodgy sex things.
Dodgy sex things.
Like, no.
It's like pissing on kids, you're not going far.
No, and if you know, obviously, if you can put racism in that thing and like just general homophobia, and that is fine as well. You know, if you don't want to listen, again, it's your own thing. And if someone was like terribly racist, I'd probably fuck them off my playlist as well. But you know, if people have just like, if there's been incidents where it's like people have dug up shit from Twitter.
Yeah, that's the thing that stresses me out, man.
You know what I mean?
When someone posted that they tweeted in 2009.
Yeah, it's like, were you a dick when you were 15?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. So get off your fucking high horse, because I was a dick as well. You know what I mean?
You still are a dick sometimes.
True. Well, I think that's a good point to end the episode with a good portion of Jack's tactical tracks. This one's actually a little different because it is not a Jack question. This is Liam's tactical tracks.
Yeah.
We're switching it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, for anyone who's not seen or heard the podcast before, Tactical Tracks is a segment where Jack would normally give me a scenario and I would put forth a song to match that scenario.
Yep.
Put forth, right? So I'm presenting the scenario this week, however. I'm going to say, just because we're out and about travelling in Barcelona, you're on the plane.
Right.
It's evening time, you're above the clouds, maybe there's a little sunset in the distance. Right? There's a peacefulness that you feel being that high up. What song are you putting on in the headphones?
What song am I putting on in the headphones? So I'm going on holiday, basically.
Yeah, or you could be coming back, though. That's the thing.
I think that's going to be a different song.
This is why I'm saying it's not relating to... It's not a song that gets you in the mood for holiday. Oh. It's you're on the plane, you're sat staring out the window. You see the evening time, maybe even night time, man, the moon's out. And you feel the peacefulness that you feel when you're at such heights. And what's soundtracking that?
Well, when you first started asking me, the first song that came to my head was maybe Heat Waves by Glass Animals.
Right.
Because that's what I sort of associate with the time. Not like of the day, not just like going away or whatever, just like relaxing and chilling and good vibes. So that's got some good memories to it. But when you start painting the picture, like I feel like I'm gonna have to listen to something more mellow.
Yeah, definitely.
But then I don't want to be sad, man. Because the thing I'd go to is either that Yay album,
right,
the bipolar one, or Ghost Stories.
Ghost Stories is good, because
they both sit in that realm of like, I want to be sad, but I want it to be my option of having the feels.
Yeah, because you want to feel feels, not just necessarily sadness. You know what I mean? Just general life feels. Yeah, I can see, particularly Ghost Stories as an album. I can see that working in those scenarios. I am going to go for either. Speaking of Brian Eno before, actually, Brian Eno, there's a song called An Ascending, I think it's called, or Ascending. It's basically a song that he did for the soundtrack of a film that was a load of footage from the Apollo space missions. So he wrote the soundtrack to sound like you're in space, and it does. It's got this like uplifting, floaty, ambient texture to it. That or a song called Ether by We Are All Astronauts, which is very cinematic, builds a lot, gets very emotional. So I feel like that have the similar feels of being like
some mad shit, man.
I'll show you that song in a bit. But yeah, that's what I'm going with.
Well, maybe what we can do on the way home, because that's what it's going to be. Whack it on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there we go. That is the end of the episode, people. Thank you for listening and or watching. If you would like to see our Barcelona adventures, we vlogged a lot while we're here. It'll go up on my YouTube in probably like a week or two. So I'll put the link in the YouTube description and you can subscribe to that. So you'll see it when it comes out. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, we're about to go on and enjoy the city.
Yeah,
adventure out.
We've got one last day, fly home tonight.
That's a nice food, nice vibes.
It's been a good time, man. I've had a good time. But yeah, my name is Liam. This has been Jack. This has been Stereotypical. We'll see you
abroad,
Stereotypical on tour. We'll see you in the next one.